In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was Gandhi.
Whoa, cut! That is not historically accurate, nor is that how you begin a crash course. Let's try this again.
Welcome to Crash Course Biography Edition.
Have you ever felt the urge to lead a non-violent resistance? Perhaps against the early hour when school starts, or that nasty gruel your school attempts to call food? Well, maybe you should call upon your inner Gandhi.
Who was Gandhi, you ask?
Well, Gandhi was the leader of the Indian independence movement, who sought to, you guessed it, gain independence from our favorite imperial power of the 18th, 19th, and early 20th centuries, the British. But before he could lead his revolution, he has to grow up and he has to go to school. So we're going to take you all the way back to the beginning.
Gandhi was born on October 2nd, 1869. He was the youngest of 6, and his mother was his father's 4th wife. Commitment issues much? His father was the chief minister of Porbandar, India, where Gandhi grew up. His mother was a very religious Vaishnavism Hindu. Even though Gandhi was also Hindu, he didn't support the caste system. His marriage was arranged for him at 13, and he stayed with her until her death at 74. Clearly, he didn't take after his father.
Believe it or not, Gandhi was originally a college dropout, dropping out of Samaldas Arts College. But after some time, he decided to take another crack at the whole school thing and enrolled in the easiest course of education someone could take: law. Against his mother's wishes, he left India to go study at the prestigious University College London. He gained public speaking skills and finished his degree after 3 years, just to return to India to find his mother already passed.
Gandhi experienced his fair share of racism in his lifetime, being educated in the not very progressive England of the 1890s and all. But the experience he most often cited as his main driving force for pushing for the decolonization of India was his time in South Africa. During his time in South Africa, he was there under apartheid. And during his 21-year stay, he created many acts of civil disobedience to protest apartheid. Apartheid was the legal separation of black South Africans and white South Africans that was effective until the early 1990s. In 1915, Gandhi decided to leave South Africa and return to his home of India to fight for equality there.
One of Gandhi's very first efforts to achieve Indian independence was the one and only Salt March. Because the British made the Indian people pay high taxes for salt and forbade them from making their own, the people were unhappy. This upset Gandhi and caused him to peacefully march to the ocean to collect his own salt using civil disobedience. This went on from March 12, 1930 to April 6th of the same year. Along the way, he gathered many supporters who marched with him and walked around 240 miles to defy the unfair laws.
Onwards! Salt!
Another example of Gandhi using civil disobedience is in the British cotton boycott, also known as the homespun movement. Back in the good old days before the British colonized the entire Indian subcontinent, India exported 75% of cotton textiles. Britain then forced the Indians to stop and import their own cotton so that they could strictly buy British finished clothes. This, of course, crippled India's economy. So, Gandhi led the people in a movement where they burned British clothes and returned to making their traditional homespun clothes, hence being called the homespun movement.
An open letter to cotton. And what does the secret compartment have for us today? A cotton t-shirt. Thanks, secret compartment. The cotton plant is native to the Nile region of Egypt, and it slowly spread to India through trade. By the 5th millennium BC, India had the cotton industry down cold. They'd spin it into cotton, then take that cotton into yarn, and then they'd weave that cotton to cloth that was both soft and durable to use for their clothes. Until the 1500s, India had a near monopoly on finished cotton textiles, producing almost 75% of all the world's textiles. right behind China with their silk. After India was imperialized, they stopped making any of those textiles and were forced to farm cash crops for the British. But that did not mean the end for our good cotton friend, as we still have cotton clothes today, and it's one of the most popular materials.
Nathram Godse, a Hindu nationalist who just could not hold back his disagreeal with Gandhi's political ideology, assassinated the Indian leader in New Delhi using a revolver and shooting him 3 times. Allegedly, Gandhi's last words were Ram Ram, translating to God, God. Godse was sentenced to hang a year later.
Gandhi's influence has changed the course of history by aiding India in gaining their independence, as well as setting an example for nonviolent protests and civil disobedience.
So the next time you're thinking of planning a protest, remember the peaceful ways of Gandhi to avoid jail, fines, unfortunate run-ins with the law, having to call your mother, and just a whole host of other terrible things that could happen if you do not protest peacefully.
And as our good old friend Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world.